Why didn't you marry your child's father?
Why didn't I marry my daughter's father? Because I didn't want to. And he was, I mean, we were not, that was not the path that I took for a reason.
I'm asking why.
I mean, I just didn't want to. He wasn't marriage material. That
But he
wasn't where
was
we were
birth
at.
material.
Yeah, he was someone that I did have a child with.
No, man.
And that's okay.
See, I want you to,
I mean,
and see, the
as a
reason I'm doing
man,
this,
y'all
man,
can't
the
have
reason I'm
kids.
doing this is I want you to understand these women are so much character driven, and I want you to listen to the answers. Get over my tone, listen to the intent.
I was saying she kept trying to, what she wanted to ask the guys was she was struggling with, and it was accountability, how we kept pushing accountability. My thing is you're not talking, you're talking about post consequence accountability. Everybody has that. Everybody has the accountability after the fact. Accountability we're talking about is before you make decisions. You know, like take responsibility for what you're doing, and use good judgment so you don't make poor choices. That's the accountability we're looking for. But you know what I'm saying? I think you're getting the two sides of it twisted. Every time somebody fall or or fail or make a mistake, and yeah, they come to their senses. But then in a lot of these cases, when it's dealing with kids and stuff and families and stuff, it's just really hard to move like that. You kind of want to, be more proactive.
Sorry, it cut out somewhere. No, I was talking about y'all. We talk about accountability. Accountability to me is I had the option. I opted not to get married. I wasn't going to do it. I don't regret it. And the way life went, I didn't have any more kids. It was the healthiest thing to do. I wasn't creating broken homes. I wasn't in relationships longer than what I should have. It's kind of
What
like,
about before
but
the
hold
kids?
on. Damn if I do, damn if I don't. If I would have had more kids, right? And let's say it wouldn't have worked out with those relationships. Even if I would have gotten married to the father of my child, we still would have been divorced. I'm 100% positive. Then I would have went on and had maybe another kid. So I would have been deemed as you have more than one father to your child, or, you got married and you left him. So there was no way that I was going to win. I was going to be deemed wrong if I divorced. I was going to be deemed wrong if I would have had more than one child with different fathers. That's one of the other reasons why I didn't want all that. So I chose accordingly. And then I was responsible, meaning I was just a responsible adult. I don't understand. And
So you say you were responsible adult. Like, answer me this, because this is what I'm starting to understand for the past hour and 20 minutes. It sounds like you can look at a man and see that he's worthy of having your children versus having your hand in marriage. Is having the children supersede that, you know what I'm saying? Having his hand in marriage? Because it sounds like the way y'all rating, man, like y'all rating him, okay, can he be a father to a child versus can he just be a husband first? Then we can do the child thing later.
well, for me, I look at somebody, if I look at a man dating, can I marry this man? I don't factor in kids anymore. Cause again,
No, what I get you don't do that anymore. Cause again, you're talking about post consequence accountability.
right.
We're talking
So
about just accountability as it is, just looking at it going in. Like, or y'all looking, it sounds like y'all looking at everything after all of the mistakes. Like now y'all are on the right page. What I'm trying to understand is when you
isn't
first
that
start dating a man, are you evaluating his ability to get you pregnant and have a kid and be a father before
no, I can't
he can be
speak
a
for the other,
husband?
I can't speak for the other women on this panel, but what you do, whether you get judged for or not, is I think all of us to some degree, you look at your, not only the other person's past, past mistakes, you look at your own and your patterns. And I thought the idea was you're supposed to learn and be better and choose better, whether it be, your job,
Mm-mm.
dating. So you're not,
No, see,
you're
So
what
like
you're
I think
talking
the
about,
thing he's saying, like I think the thing he's
talking
saying
about
is
trial
that
and error.
okay, now that you've said okay, I'm not gonna be out here bringing kids into the world like
correct.
out of wedlock. Okay, now that that's established, cool. But I guess he's kind of hitting on as far as you finding the man. Like, why are you still single or not able to find a man? Is it that you just don't want to be in a relationship, or are you still looking at men like, okay, hey, he wants to have kids. I don't want to have kids, so I'm not going to be with him. Like, what's the holdup when it comes to finding a companion?
I date, but a lot of it has been my career.
It's just a matter of whatever your father wanted out of you. That's how I look at things. What does your father want? Does your father want you to go be a wife and bring him some grandbabies so he can love on them? And that's what I believe you should do. Me personally, you should honor your father and your mother.
What
What
about
if the father wasn't in the
Jaden?
in
I
their
was
life?
gonna.
Because that's pretty common.
That's what I
Yeah.
was.
So if the father is not in the life, then I made content on this. You should find a spiritual figure, father-like figure or covering that could give you principles to live by. But the most important thing about these principles that you're supposed to not only live by, you should be able to measure a man by these principles or the principles that he lived by. Because oftentimes a lot of women are measuring men by their exes or their past relationships to see if they measure up or they give them any signs, red flags of bad experiences they had. But you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to measure the man by the standards he actually measured himself by. But the
I
only
feel like
way to find out whatever
That is
what
very
he measures himself by, you've got to inquire about it.
Darwin, I think you speak about a lot of things from a mature standpoint, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. But to a young woman or man who doesn't have a father figure already, their first thought is not to go out there and try to find a spiritual leader or a father figure that's going to be there for them. They're going to try to figure out life, right? Because as kids, you're still growing, you're still trying to figure things out. Like you stated before, it's always easier to look backwards and say what you should have done or what could have happened. But if you don't have people in your life that are bringing those type of people into your life, especially as young adults, young kids growing up, it's not something you're going to go after. It's not realistic. So
I
if they don't
understand that.
have that, you know, if they don't have that, you don't have that spiritual leader, maybe you didn't grow up in church, maybe you didn't grow up around positive father figures and you didn't have a father, then you're going to run into situations where you have to take accountability after the fact, where
I
you run into
understand it.
situations where you have kids out of wedlock, where you
I
got to
understand
figure
that.
it
That's
out
a
once you get
penalty.
older.
Yeah, there's a penalty for that. It's a penalty for your father and your mother not being there to give you guidance. And it often ends up with you going through trial and error and having to deal with consequences. I get it. That's the game. I don't make the rules, but that's the
So I have a
Yeah.
question. You mentioned like a few minutes ago that both people have to work nowadays, correct? Like
yeah.
nowadays.
Sweeney mentioned that most
In
people.
most cases, yeah, both people have to work just because of the way the economy's set up right now.
So I think y'all also, it seems like, or some people, maybe not y'all, that tend to mistake career-driven women with women that just have high-paying careers. So
That's why I asked, what is it like? Is it landing a job or is it getting up the
that
chain?
already most, are already in our careers or jobs, whichever. And so if you're someone that's young and you meet somebody and you pick that over a man, a good man, then if a woman gives it up, which she will, that I'm not going to say it makes sense because, you have to look at the greater. Do you want a family, a marriage, and all that? That makes absolute sense. But I mean, somebody 35 plus, like Ash mentioned earlier, society already tells us we're 35, we're washed up, we have a kid, no one's going to want us, we're this, we're that, and the other. So they tell us everything that we're not. So then instead of being bitter, we're like, okay, cool, I'm washed up, I'm 35, I'm not going to get married, I'm not going to be A, B, and C. Okay, I don't even get mad. So then when I keep working and keep just, being an adult, you're not being a superwoman, you're just being an adult and taking care of yourself because you're not married. It's you still have this negative connotation attached to you, and it's like, well, wait,
You said you didn't want to get married.
I didn't say that. I said I didn't want kids, Darwin. That's why you kept asking me. I said
I
I
thought
want
you said you were engaged.